What the? Hang on. There we go. Roller coasters have been sending riders upside down on a regular basis since the mid-1970s. The very first inversion being 1846 in Paris, being Centrifuge Railway. While this ride wasn't really meant for the general public, it's still technically the very first inversion ever made, having only a 13-foot diameter. In the early 1900s, there were a few other smalling looping coasters, but around 1911 or so, they fell out of favor, and inversions fell off the face of the earth until the mid-1970s. And ever since inversions came back into the amusement industry, countless new ways of sending riders upside down have come into fruition. Today, we are going to count down the top 10 most commonly used inversions on coasters. Now, before we go flipping into this video, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel.
I'm watching you.
I'm telling you, you won't regret it. Also, make sure to give it a nice big thumbs up. Helps the channel fight against the YouTube algorithm. Huh. This is normally when the YouTube algorithm comes and disturbs me and does something stupid. I guess I can relax now. Number 10 would be the dive loop. A dive loop is when the track goes upwards and twists either to the left or to the right, and then it does a half loop going back down to the ground. The very first dive loop was on Kumba at Busch Gardens, Tampa. So how many times has the dive loop been used? There are currently 67 operating dive loops, 2 defunct, and there's 0 under construction, 0 standing but not operating, and 0 in storage. Makes a total of 69 dive loops. Number 9 on our list would be the immelman, which is pretty much the reverse of a dive loop. You start by going into a half loop, and then you twist either left to the right, going back down to the ground. And the very first one of these is also at Busch Gardens, Tampa on Montauk. There are currently 63 operating immelmans, 8 defunct, 3 under construction, and 0 for the last 2 categories. Makes a total of 74 immelmans. Number 8 on our list would be the sidewinder, which is kind of similar to it in immelman, but after you do the half loop portion, you do more of a half corkscrew when you level out, more so than a twist, ending perpendicular to how you entered the element. The very first sidewinder was on a coaster called the Dragon at Ocean Park. This coaster is no longer operating, so the oldest operating sidewinder out there now is Ninja at Six Flags St. Louis. So how many sidewinders have been made? There are currently 82 operating sidewinders, 11 defunct, 9 under construction, 5 standing but not operating, and 0 in storage. Makes a total of 107 sidewinders. Number 7 on our list would be the Heartland Roll. This is pretty much a 360-degree twist, with the center of axis being where the rider's heart area is, hence the name Heartland Roll. The Heartland Roll was first introduced by Togo on their Ultra Twister model. There are currently 92 operating Heartland Rolls, 18 defunct, 4 under construction, 4 standing but not operating, and 0 in storage, giving us 118 Heartland Rolls. Number 6 on our list would be a 0G roll, and the best way I can describe a 0G roll is as if an airtime hill and a Heartland Roll had a baby. Okay, you two, get a room. We don't need to see that. Yeah, it's pretty much an airtime hill, and you do a 360 twist while you crest it. The very first 0G roll was on Batman the Ride at Six Flags Great America. So how many babies did an airtime hill and a Heartland Roll have? There are currently 112 operating 0G rolls, 3 defunct, 3 under construction, 3 standing but not operating, and 0 in storage, giving us 121 0G rolls. You two, calm down. Number 5 on our list would be the Inline Twist, and this is similar to a Heartland Roll, but the center of axis is the track itself, not the rider. Here's an example by flipping the camera. Here's a Heartland Roll, and here's an Inline Twist. Something along those lines. The first Inline Twist was introduced by Vekoma on their Flying Dutchman model. There are currently 105 operating Inline Twists, 7 defunct, 9 currently under construction, 2 standing but not operating, and 0 in storage. Makes a total of 123 inline twists. Number 4 on our list would be the Cobra Roll, which is pretty much 2 inversions in one. This is commonly used as a turnaround element on a coaster while throwing in 2 inversions at the same time, and it gets its name from its cobra head shape. This is pretty much 2 sidewinders mirrored together. You go up a half loop, you do a half corkscrew, then you do the same, reverse, in opposite direction. This was first introduced in 1984 on the Vekoma Boomerang model. 4 of them opened in 1984. So how many times has the Cobra Roll been used? There are currently 140 operating Cobra Rolls, 11 defunct, 7 under construction, 4 standing but not operating, and 1 in storage, giving us 163 Cobra Rolls. Number 3 would be the double corkscrew, which obviously is 2 inversions in 1 element. It's just 2 corkscrews back to back, which is still technically a different type of inversion than a singular corkscrew. The double corkscrew actually came before the singular corkscrew. A corkscrew is pretty much a stretched out vertical loop where the entrance and the exits are further apart from each other. Stretching the element out like this more evenly spreads out the g-forces. And this was the first modern steel inversion. 4 of them opened in 1975. Wabash Cannonball at Opryland, USA, Corkscrew at Knott's Berry Farm, which is now currently at Silverwood, Chicago Loop at Old Chicago, and Corkscrew at Magic Harbor. Of these 4 original ones, the one that opened at Knott's Berry Farm is the only one remaining. So how many times has a double corkscrew been used? There's currently 160 operating double corkscrews, 68 defunct, 1 currently under construction, 5 standing but not operating, and 1 in storage, giving us 235 double corkscrews. Number 2 is the singular version of that, just the corkscrew. The singular corkscrew didn't come around until 1981 on Vekoma's MK1200 model. How many times has the singular corkscrew been used? There are currently 196 operating corkscrews, 25 defunct, 23 under construction, 7 standing but not operating, and 0 in storage, giving us 251 corkscrews. Down to our number 1 spot, and we're going to go back to the original inversion, the loop. The first modern steel loop opened in 1976, being Revolution at Six Flags Magic Mountain. There's technically 2 different types of loops, but I'm going to put them all together. There is the vertical loop, and then there's the clothoid loop. The vertical loop is a more circular shape, while the clothoid loop is more of a teardrop shape. The vertical loop is a little bit more intense because the g-forces aren't evenly distributed. The clothoid loop is a little bit more graceful because the g-forces are much more evenly distributed. So how many times has the loop been used? Seriously? I gotta count all of that? No. Ryan from Post, take care of this. I'm not counting that thing, dude. I ain't counting it. You do it. No. Yeah. No. Yes.
Seriously, you two? You're gonna fight over this? Fine, I'll take over.
Alright, Bulby, you take over.
There are currently 669 operating loops, 295 defunct, 24 under construction, 31 standing but not operating, and 6 in storage, giving us a massive number of 1,025 loops. Now you see, you two? Is that really that hard? Now feed me.
I crave flesh.
Bulby, now let's talk this through, okay? Well, there you have it, guys. Those are the top 10 most commonly used inversions on roller coasters. I'm really not surprised that the loop was the most common one, but I wasn't expecting it to be that high. What did you think was the most commonly used inversion? Comment down below what you thought it was. Alright guys, I've wrapped the video up here. Hope you enjoyed it, and this outro couldn't be more fitting, but I'll catch you guys in the next loop. See you guys.